What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to another review. And today we are taking a look at this Storm Arena Ken, which has been making his rounds for sure across the action figure community. And if you didn't check it out, go ahead and check out the Instagram, as I did a mini review of this guy, and then now we're doing the full review. And on that note, if you could drop a like, share, and sub, as that continues to help grow the channel so I could keep bringing you guys these reviews. But anyways, back to the figure, and just kind of a overview before we get into everything. I'm just gonna flat out say it, that what a lot of people are afraid to say is that it's better than Jada in pretty much every single way. Now, on the contrary, that doesn't mean that Jada Toys is trash. It's not. Jada Toys is honestly one of those companies that come very, very rarely where it feels like you're getting your money's worth and then some. You know what I mean? Like, I personally had the M Bison, I had the Fei Long, I had Ryu, and then I used another Ryu to make an Akuma custom. And since they showed these, to be honest, I got rid of all my Jada toys because I knew that the Storm Arena, being a sub brand of the Storm Collectibles line, was going to be much better. And that's exactly what we're talking about today, and what I'm going to show you, and what this figure is. So first off, before we get into the figure, let me go ahead and show you guys the accessories. So on him, this is not the standard head. It's kind of like a smirking head. Looks a little weird at some angles, like he kind of looks like a little kid at some angles, but for the most part, I think it's pretty cool. I like that head. And then here he is, the original head. It's like the stern face. They're pretty nice. Like, they're a little soft, but that definitely is reminiscent of the style of pretty much everything pre Street Fighter 3, where what was it, the first one, and then you had Second Impact, and then you had Third Strike. That's when they kind of redefined the look of all these characters. Then you have some Hadouken hands, which are pretty cool. And then you come with two kind of unique hands. This one is like the he's telling you to come over here, and then the little peace sign. I'm pretty sure the coming over here hand is like his taunt. And then he does come with this fire effect, which works amazingly, and I'll go ahead and show it here in the next segment once we start going into articulation. And then last but not least, he comes with the stand, and a lot of people didn't really like this, and I'm gonna be completely honest. I think most of those people are wrong. Most times when something doesn't look right or doesn't work right, I'll talk about it, and it works really good. Like, yes, it's kind of huge and doesn't really look that good, but I mean, you got a hinge right here. It swivels. It's on ratchet, so it's gonna hold the figure very well. And then it's on a ratchet over here, so it works really well. It does what it's supposed to. Like, yeah, it's not that aesthetically, sleek, so that it can just disappear behind the scenes. But, most times you have to Photoshop stuff like that anyway. But now, getting straight into the figure, just going over all the articulation. Looking up, you're going to get about that much. And then looking down, about that much. And I would say that, just for reference, pretty much the only department in which I believe Jada and Storm Arena are pretty similar is in the leg compartment. I don't remember. Let me know down in the comments. I kind of forgot. I haven't had them for a couple months. But I don't think Jada has drop downs, whereas Storm Arena does have drop downs. But besides the lower legs, I'm pretty sure that everything is like completely different. So up here in the chest, before we get into that, it is like a soft plastic. I don't know if you can see it right there. I'm kind of moving it. And then the gi is a really nice, soft, really pliable plastic. Same thing with the little, the belt right here. Very, very posable. And then my favorite thing, opposed to the Jada toys, and I wish I would have kept one of them just for comparison, but I would check out Articulated Ninja Reviews. He did like a very, very in-depth look at this figure, and he showed it next to the Jada. And one of my least favorite things about the Jada, and I actually modded mine, was the gi's very fat. So it's basically like that. And yes, I know gi is going to be boxy and kind of big, especially like in real life, right? You can't really you wouldn't really want to tailor something like a gi that's supposed to be loose fitting, but at the same time, this isn't real life. This is based on a video game, and I really like the silhouette on this figure. Like, nice broad shoulders, the gis, nice and tapered. The pants look really good. I'm getting ahead of myself. But anyways, back to the articulation. The shoulders go up that much. The gis go there, and I just mentioned that because I think it's pretty important to the review to let you know that's the case. And then the shoulders are just, I mean, phenomenal. Like, look at that range on those shoulders, or the butterfly. Going back, it's not that great. I'm gonna be completely honest. It's not even really the gi. It's just, you can see right there, the butterfly joint doesn't have as deep of a cut as it does up here in the front. And then bending forward, I'm gonna just do the whole thing in one shot. Oh, popped off there. But goddamn, keep going crazy on it. Okay, about that much, which is freaking crazy. And then he goes back about that much, which is really good as well. Legs kick up about, keeping them straight, kick up about that much, kick back about that much, and then they do kind of go off to the side. So if you want to keep them straight, it's only about that much. And then there is a thigh swivel right here, and then the knees, really really good knees. And then so there is a boot swivel right here at the like calf area, so that spins. And then the ankle rocker, amazing ankle rocker both ways. And then you get a toe hinge as well, and then that's about as much as it gets going forward, and then about that much going back. So this figure is just amazingly articulated. And then here we'll go ahead and go over the aesthetic now. And then I kind of already spoke about the chest, so I'm not going to go over that again. But like I said, the details in the face, it's like I said, that Street Fighter 3 or Street Fighter Alpha, sorry, which is essentially the I believe it's like the official like third in the franchise. But it's not called Street Fighter 3. That would be, later on. But anyways, the art style for that game is a little bit softer. But my main reason for getting this guy, and I'm debating getting Ryu, but I already have the SHF Ryu, and I'm pretty happy with that one, so I don't think I'll get that one. But goddamn. Another great thing about this is, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, they use the same sprites for Marvel vs. Capcom and Street Fighter vs. X-Men. So I think that it's gonna fit really well with that, especially seeing that, Hasbro's coming out with their Marvel vs. Capcom style figures, and then also we're getting some from SH Figure Arts. So I think I mentioned it in my last video that it makes me curious to see if, maybe Tamashi's gonna make a game reverse for Capcom for, like, the Street Fighter characters. So I don't know. All I'm saying is, if they make Storm Arena makes Street Fighter Third Strike figures, like that'll be a dream come true. I love the designs for that game. And then we're eating really good right now for the Marvel vs. Capcom aesthetic. So we're good on that front. But yeah, the proportions are amazing. Like I said, he has those big broad shoulders, tapered waist, and then it kind of puffs out a little bit here at the hips, which I know some people don't like, but in my opinion, I think just the subtle shading. Some people think it's a little bit heavy-handed. I like it. I think it adds a lot of value to the character, to the character and to the aesthetic, right? It doesn't make it look like just plasticky. It has like a nice, amount of shading, like pretty much all throughout the body, including the backside. So it's really good. There's not really any shading here on the like skin parts. There is a little bit. I don't know how well it's capturing on camera, but there's like a little subtle shading, but it's not that great. And then one thing I did want to say while we're on that is that the joints for mine were a little on the tight side. Like, my biceps were pretty much like ratcheting almost. Like, it felt like if I kept doing that, they were just going to snap. So I did go ahead and heat that up, pull them apart, put oil on them. And then while I was there, I just put it all over the body. So I would say that that's not something that would be really an issue, as that's pretty common in the storm lines, both Storm Collectibles and Storm Arena so far, right? I don't have every Storm Arena figure, but so far it seems to be a pretty common issue. And then for some reason mine is popping off pretty easily, but you can hinge it really like crazy forward. Let me see, without popping this thing off. Yeah, so pretty crazy articulation that you're getting with this guy. Um, let's see. Let's go ahead and put him in some poses now. Let's see real quick before we do the size comparisons. And you know what? Let me know what you guys think about. Are you guys excited for the Storm Arena line? I personally am. Still holding out hope that some third-party company or import company, sorry, picks up the Mortal Kombat line. Like, I mean, Storm Arena or Jada Toys would be amazing, because I know those McFarlane Spider-Man, I'm tripping. The Mortal Kombat figures that are coming out from McFarlane, they look pretty cool, but I know that they're gonna be extremely limited on articulation. Like, I'm not even getting my hopes up. Like, getting Storm Arena to make some Mortal Kombat figures, which I know Storm Collectibles had it for the longest, and then just out of nowhere, like, I don't know if their contract expired or what was going on there, but they no longer have the license, so maybe they could reacquire it and make some, Storm Arena Mortal Kombat figures. So, just showing you guys some of those, accessories, or not accessories, articulation. But on that note, let me show you real quick. Probably gonna skip around this. Okay, so there you go. I got the Shoryuken going on, and as you know, Ken has the Fire Shoryuken, so you can probably raise that shoulder a little bit more, accentuate it a little bit more, tilt that head down. Boom. Looks really sick, man. But anyways, let's get into some size comparisons. Okay, now kicking it off with what I would say is probably the most important size comparisons is here he is next to the SH Figuarts Ryu, and my camera is tilted down a little bit, but I don't think it's really affecting the size of it. They're pretty much on equal footing. And then I would say over here with the Mafex Wolverine, this is the official. I know the CT Toys is a little bit smaller, so it's going to look a little better. But honestly, it's action figures, so you can fudge it. If you have it on a shelf, it might look a little bit bad, but if you do toy photography, you can make it work. And then just to finish it off, here I'll show them next to the SH Figuarts Chun-Li, which again, I think stylistically they're pretty different. Like, they're almost like they almost don't even fit in with each other. Like, completely different styles. This is a little bit more anime like, like I would say arty more than anything else, and this is definitely inspired by the video game, and you can see the resemblance. So that's what I would say is kind of bad about the SHF line, is they're a little bit more inspired by anime. Really, there isn't really a hardcore Street Fighter anime, but they're definitely anime looking. And then here, just final comparison, I don't want to go too long on these, is the Marvel Legends Captain America. And again, they don't scale completely well with everything, but which is kind of funny, because that was the whole thing about Storm Collectibles, is that they made the Storm Arena to scale better. So I don't know if Marvel Legends are too big or Storm Arena is too small. So I think it works. It's not going to be a deal breaker. I mean, at least it isn't for me. But that's pretty much it for the size comparisons. Alright guys, and that pretty much concludes the video. I just wanted to give you guys my thoughts, kind of what I think about the figure, and obviously show it off as well, as that's what these reviews are for. And just wanted to say that be careful, buying this figure. I don't mean it in a bad way. I mean it, if you buy this figure, you're going to slowly understand how little other companies give a shit about their products. Why do I say that? It beats out Jada Toys in almost every way. I would say quality, feel, articulation, and look beats out Jada toys. Not crapping on Jada toys, I still think that they're great because they're very affordable, and they come with pretty much the same amount of accessories. So not crapping on Jada or anything, but I am crapping on something like SH Figure Arts because this figure is better articulated than SH Figure Arts, and the SH Figure Arts Ryu that I showed earlier was $65, and this guy is $26.99, right? And I think that's just because of the tariff thing. They were originally $25. So, like I said, it just makes you realize how crappy most domestics and, quote unquote economic figures are, or domestics, and it really it just ruins it because it's so good. And that's kind of a note that I would say about the whole figure is it's so good. It's so refreshing to have a good figure that's cheap, and it's just good. Like, I really I can't say anything else that other people haven't said already. I don't want to just keep repeating myself, but it is an amazing figure that I think everyone should have in their collection, especially because all the Marvel Legends, Marvel vs. Capcom inspired looks, including SH Figure Arts, are coming out. And I mean, those figures look pretty good, but it's going to be a tough competition between them. But as always, if you could leave me a like, share, sub, as that continues to help grow the channel and helps me bring you guys these videos. And as always, y'all have a good one. Peace.